10 seconds, Radiant team ban. DC's turn to ban.
No, I think they'll do great. My money is on blue Pikachu this round. They'll end it in
remaining.
37 minutes and 22 seconds.
5 seconds remaining.
Hell yes. Hell France. Was it actually that? I have a screenshot. Nature's Prophet, Wispan. So whenever you encounter a team that plays IO and you don't want to play IO yourself, or you're afraid of a potential of IO, you ban that hero, because it's not that that hero is cheesy, it's that if a team executes an IO lineup really well, it's very difficult to play. And so if you yourself don't want to play it, or you just don't want to play against it at all, you definitely, it warrants a first ban. So PC, they'll ban that. They'll pick up a Night Stalker. Night Stalker, you know, an okay position for a hero in the early game. Maybe not the best roamer, but definitely this hero gets a lot done in the mid and late game. The amount of vision control he provides, and just the amount of teamfight utility he has with his silence and with Void spell, makes this hero really good in the mid.
Oh boy. One of my favorite heroes, Franz. Who's ready for a fight? Tusk? Are you kidding me? BP pulling out all the stops here.
You gotta get ready for the rupture into Walrus Kick. Into Hook.
An item you're able to get to in a pro game on Tusk. Although it would be nice to see.
It happened once, right? And I remember I was watching a C qualifier game, and there was a Bloodseeker, Tusk, Pudge, and then they ruptured a Sven, like a full HP Sven. They Walrus kicked him away, hooked him, and then Walrus kicked him again with a refresher or some garbage, and like he died instantly. Blue Pikachu, they have Lich. Lich, you know, a hero we get to see a lot in the last couple of months, and this hero is just strong because he generally wins his lane just by being there and by harassing enemy heroes with Frost Novas. So the enemy team has one lane that's always like a little bit weaker than it should be, and then you have the teamfight potential with Chain Frost, and so that combination makes that hero first pick material, and just I think a top tier pick in general. But you see they respond with a Batrider. Batrider is a hero that can get a lot out of the jungle as soon as he hits level 2, you know, preferably level 3 and 4, but he jungles quite quickly. And so that can free up some space for another one of DC's heroes to sort of take EXP in his place when they need to catch up.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I think Night Stalker wins this matchup by default, to be honest, just because the Hawks are so important, and vision is so important for Beastmaster. And the Hawks give like no vision when the Night Stalker ulties, so you can't actually find a target as the Beastmaster. And part of the reason why Night Stalker Batrider opening is so strong is because you know that in the mid game and late game, you have the vision advantage as long as you don't screw anything. So you always get that Batrider initiation you're looking for, and the enemy team doesn't see it coming, or they can't initiate first. Usually the team that initiates first is
5 seconds.
And DC also have a counter initiation of their own. Winter Wyvern, you know, this hero, probably one of the best counter initiators. Not only can she save her ally with Cold Embrace, but she can kind of turn the tides with her ultimate and totally mess up Blue Pikachu. So
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
That's the combo. Now they need an alchemist to get the Ags up on all their heroes. Get the infinite Chain Frost bounce.
Radiant team ban.
He gets 2 charges. But you know, not an item that Tusk usually buys unless it goes super late. But I mean, Walrus Kick is really good for one thing other than killing people with Rupture, and it's good at taking people out of the team fight. And when you have a hero like Tusk, it kind of changes the function of the hero, right? You're not just looking to punch someone anymore. You're literally just taking someone out of the fight. 900 range. Usually that's the difference between a won and a lost team fight, especially when the enemy team has a hero like Winter Wyvern that needs to be close to his team to save them.
10 seconds
so,
remaining.
Not saying he'll buy an Ags this game, but it's not the worst Ags upgrade in the game.
5 seconds remaining.
There are definitely worse ones. Hey, Legion Commander Ags is underrated, okay? It's actually really good. Like it's a dang death sentence if you Legion Commander Ags dual summon, because I think it brings the duration up to 8 seconds. So if your Legion's actually able to 1v1 a majority of the heroes on the enemy team and you get it off, it's just over for them, right? Especially when you have something to buff up the Legion Commander. Oh.
DC's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Clinks.
Clinks hero, fairly tanky, provides a lot of damage, actually lanes well against all of Blue Pikachu's heroes, and if they send the Lich against the Clinks, then
remaining.
Clinks can just solo lane and hope he hits level 6 and then catch up from there. So Wyvern and Night Stalker can move around and do their own thing, but of course this hero is kind of susceptible to getting ruptured because Clinks relies on his positioning, and if he can't reposition in fights, then it's GG. And also the Clinks probably wants to buy a Diffusal this game just to remove Frost Armor, since Frost Armor is good against physical damage dealer Clinks. It feels like they put Mason on these sort of strong lane heroes that can like move around a lot, because I think DC's gameplay is sort of defined by DC trying to make these movements to take towers, take map control, and sort of like these very macro movements. They don't seem to like small skirmishes. Whenever they show up to a fight, they show up together. Like last game we saw like Mason rotated in on Weaver, and suddenly there was these 5 heroes on DC and they take the team fight. I think that's the kind of gameplay that I've seen DC do a lot. So maybe they're kind of going for that with the Clinks, because Clinks has high mobility. Clinks is generally always ready to fight. As soon as he has his ulti, eats a creep, TPs to a lane, or just moves to a lane and then starts fighting. So could be a pretty good pickup for them.
Choose your hero.
Unknown. Could be a jungle beastmaster. That's my shiz. Yeah, the neutral creep values were also higher, so it was more time efficient to jungle, and there were a couple of places in the jungle where you could tango a tree and then only one creep would hit you at a time, so then it became really health efficient. Like, you wouldn't really take damage, so can't really do that anymore. All of the only viable junglers in the game are junglers that don't take damage in the process of jungling. Enigma or two I can name head.
Enter Wyvern Wings bugged on my screen.
They are also bugged on my screen.
Just checking.
You think that's the I bet it's whoever created those wings. It might have flipped a little, or maybe they changed like the Wyvern's wing size
Model.
and then like, because I know they use like vectors or something. But won't go into that. I am not an expert on it. That's
TIL?
my guess.
Prepare for battle.
All right,
That's my
BP.
guess because it looks normal in the game. So
Looks like they're taking this game too seriously. Keeping out to lane under the cover of smoke is the Lich. And I'll get them the exact same ward that they placed last game. In fact, in that.
So Moon thinks that someone broke with smoke, or he just walked into the tower, or maybe he knows he walked into the tower.
Blaming himself.
He's spamming the crap out of it, so. I mean, no one really broke. Yep, they know the ward's there too because he broke his smoke on the tower. So, rest in peace, ward. Short while.
Poor little fish. What did it ever do to you, Blue Pikachu?
My gratitude.
Well,
30
they need an
seconds to
advantage.
battle.
Let him get a free ward.
Lots of chat wheeling happening here.
Yeah, it's just not the same, is it? Since the battle
mean-
pass expired.
They'll bring it back. They'll make it better.
I for one will say that patience from Joe literally anti-tilted me many games.
The battle begins.
What is this pinging?
Okay.
Dude, he planted a sentry up there. I mean, someone on Blue Pikachu pinged that spire, so they must have known that there was a ward there. But then instead, Tusk misses his sentry. DC get all the information they need, and Abed misses his block, and they're spam pinging the crap out of him. But so did
Yeah.
Close.
Still meets in the middle of the lane, everything just fine. However, this good old sacrifice going to make Abed's life a living hell. As you mentioned, Mason with a decent matchup against the Beastmaster, he can just chew through these boars pretty quickly.
Fed boars.
Save. Going to take a decent amount of damage here, as does Leroy.
You know, if you're trying to feed a game, it's underrated to pick Beastmaster, but like the Hawks and the Boars give a ton of gold, so I find it's more effective than just feeding your hero if you're trying to lose.
Tusk
the game
already
there.
TPing in mid lane. Okay, nothing skilled up just yet.
Oh,
Will now skill the shards. Abed has the orb and will make it back, and they have some potential here. Bulba though, no mana for that extra void. He's already expended a couple in this mid lane, and he'll have to back off. Meet up. Well, the courier's ferrying out a salve to Abed, so he'll be able to sustain in this lane.
Bloodseeker's actually quite difficult to deal with because you have the Frost Armor and then you have Abed being behind just from the Lich Sacrifice. I'll have to see if
that
the
is
kill
the-
ever occurs.
It's the ultimate no fun build. 0-1-1 on the Lich.
Big fan of this Nyx item build, by the way.
Find the Nyx. Okay.
Bottom. I mean,
He's got great base for regen in the first place, right? Mango popped up by
that
MSS,
is-
and clearly 1 mango superior to 3 mangoes confirmed.
I'm pretty sure it's because he wasn't actually able to use the mangoes.
He had 0-1-1 build on the Nyx, so no stun available as the Carapace was down at the time. And MSS, he'll be the first one to find a kill. Second game. Mid lane, it looks like they may
Whoa.
be... Oh, the jaunt forward looking for the courier, and Abed will find it.
Dire
Uses his phase shift though, and the orb here, so could be in a little bit of trouble.
Okay,
Couple of thirst stacks. Yep. And Abed fairy fires, tries to make it out. Okay, he's in the middle of the damn trees, and with the thirst vision, it will bring him down.
The turbos were whizzing, man.
Arctic Burn available here, top lane. Mason doesn't have the skeleton walk. Unlikely to see him chase over for the Master, but Moon will be able to pressure the Beastmaster back out and Rhine area.
Mason and Moon are doing more than okay in this lane. The Beastmaster's kind of knocked out of the lane level 2. Doesn't really want to come back to lane because as soon as he gets Arctic burned, he's eating like 5 searing arrows. It's back to no health, so. Doing a little bit of lane management for Mason here, pulling over the creep wave just to balance out the creep waves again.
Abed, much different story in the second game than in the first. Having trouble keeping up in CS, as you would expect them to, against a Bloodseeker. 22-11 is his opponent in lane to his 9-2. Has the 1 death to his name as well. So, only level 3. Getting harassed back by this Lich, and it seems after the Game 1 rage quit from the puck, that Blue Pikachu have really dedicated a good amount of their resources to shutting Abed down.
And there's the Lich as well, and just quite a tough lane for Puck. Lane's pushing in for him though, so there's gonna be 2 full creep waves.
MSS out of mana bottom lane, and we'll get shard blocked here. Has a fairy fire tango and 1 stick charge. He will get just enough to get off the Firefly. The Carapace is there though, but 4 stacks on the Nyx Assassin. It could be that the Tusk is in trouble here too. He'll drag him down to the south. 1 more right click, double kill for a Reef. And MSS God looking like,
you know,
mid-season form right now.
He actually bought Arcane Boots to get mana there. So
okay, alright.
Now he's got mana boots, so we'll see if he goes for an Aether Lens or something.
The first time they nerfed that lasso range, Aether Lens was all the rage.
It can't
but
be
certainly
good, right? There's so many other items you can buy.
Yeah,
here.
Certainly a deviation from the norm. Agree with you there. I mean, it's definitely worth getting a double kill over dying. Meanwhile, top lane,
DC
Mason.
Movement. Holy crap. The classic
Mason.
DC movement coming up from the Bat Rider and the next Night Stalker, Bulba. Going mid, they're going to try to kill this Bloodseeker here. This Bloodseeker is quite a
Level
tough kill. He's
5.5.
got Frost Armor on him.
Gonna get voided up though, and MSS will be inbound. Lots of magic damage there. They'll lasso up the Lich as well. Looking for a 2-for-1. Abed gonna chase forward. And with the Waning Rift, 1 more right click. He will find that kill. So Bulba gonna get 1, and Abed.
Guess what kind of timing this was?
Siege creep. Man, I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much. Mason, top lane. Juked. Leroy. Into the caverns like his cousin Jenkins. And Save gonna drop down. Here mid lane. Saw a couple of Save Dota fans in the chat. He will unfortunately drop here. Yeah, as you were mentioning with that siege creep, they do get near a third of the tower's HP removed here in the mid lane.
Yeah, the Bloodseeker did quick work on that siege creep, so it wasn't actually able to get out that many attacks. But I think the real success story for DC right now is this bottom lane. It's the only lane that hasn't died yet. Nemesis is doing more than well, sitting on 1,000 gold as well as Arcane Boots, so he'll have quite a good blink timing, probably in the next 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes.
Pulling over the creeps too, so may just have a double wave to combo up with this siege creep. See if he needs to bring anyone down, but wave is going to be a little bit short, in fact, than the siege probably
it's not a movement they want to make, and Abed's like not in a really good spot right now. He's level 4. Bloodseeker's level 6. Mason's not quite level 6 yet, so he's not ready either. So if any movement happens, I don't imagine, as I say that, Mason got killed, but it looks like Bulba wrapped around as well.
Got it.
If there's any movement, it's going to exclude the puck, I believe.
Certainly reasonable. MSS being stalked here by the level 6 Nyx Assassin, and they will find him out. It's a big kill for them to find. Highest net worth value target on the map, and they're unable to kill him off so far. Spike Carapace is ready, so MSS refraining from using the Firefly. Now the Mango used up. Stun! MSS?
Hardest spell in the game to land, I'm telling you.
There you go. Save, though. They'll find a vengeance kill for Bulba, if a vengeance was a word. And by the end of the first night, Bulba involved in 3 kills. The one big rotation mid lane gets the Beastmaster top alongside Mason, and then that one bottom. MSS, though, taking a spill is certainly not ideal considering how much he was worth at the time, and it helps out this Nyx assassin who didn't necessarily have a smooth beginning to this one.
I mean, Nyx assassin naturally counters the puck as well, so if this Nyx gets this Nyx has a good start, which he sort of does now with that kill. Actually,
Rupture mid. Moon will get under the cold embrace. Abed nearby. And Arctic Burn to fly over the shards. Just enough. They'll force him deep underneath the tower. Splinter Blast will come out, but still, with Abed lacking the levels as he is, they just don't have enough damage to turn this one.
I can see a huge potential for the Nyx to go for pickoffs on Abed, especially since Abed's kind of behind on levels and gold right now.
He is wrapping around the tower. Daytime though, so Abed should have vision of him if he walks under tower range. Now Bloodright is going to be there. Abed, oh, he uses the phase shift early. Now he's silenced up, and they'll hit the Vendetta Strike and the Impale. He's going to drop down. Splinter Blast flying through, connects onto the Bloodseeker. Moving quickly with the phase boots is Bulba. It is daytime, but the Void, level 3, is there to grab him the kill. And they will Delta Split, will Moon and Bulba, to prevent any further aggression to Tusk's abilities. Rather large cooldowns at this point early in the game, 16 and 20 seconds respectively on his shards and Snowball, and he's unable to press further.
Mason takes the top tower, so that frees him up to go anywhere he wants now, because whenever you take the enemy offlane tower, it makes it harder for the enemy to make movements into your lane, so you know your safe lane tower is slightly more protected, and you also know that if you move around, it's going to be a while before the enemy can actually do anything to your tower, so he backs off for now.
Mason just...
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And the dust is on that Tusk, so they weren't able to catch Mason. I think that would have been an easy kill if they somehow caught him, because his Death Pact hadn't been used yet, but instead the Nyx scouts him out. PC are being a little bit careful of their positioning right now. Abed's just cutting waves in the bottom lane.
Sentry down for the Dire in the mid lane, so Mason feels rather safe. There is a Radiant Sentry up on the Radiant Hill, but it did not scout Mason's movement. And it looks like this Nyx could be in a little bit of trouble. Crippling Fear would be the first spell to go out. And as you mentioned, DC often moving as a complete unit in this early mid-game. Mason will find himself a kill. Maybe a lot more difficult to bring down this Bloodseeker.
Blink on Batrider.
That is a pretty darn good timing for MSS. Looking to eclipse the level 10 marks shortly as well. So he does a lot of damage in his own right.
Yeah, Nyx is setting up for Abed bottom. I think this was a kill if he didn't show himself. Could have been deaded and waited for the Tusk to get a little bit closer, but instead, Abed's probably going to play a little bit cautiously.
Nice play by Abed to phase shift the expected Spike Carapace there. But now he's used his Orb and Spike Carapace. They're going to miss the Impale. However, Snowball will fly through. No Walrus Punch yet. Shards will not be able to latch. And meanwhile, mid lane, MSS going to find the Bloodseeker. Exactly the target that they want. Blink Lasso, or Blink. Yeah, Blink Lasso utilized for that. Get to work on one with this nearby vision. The Dire feel rather safe to take it out.
The blue Pikachu there, they have the pickup potential in the Nyx and the Beastmaster. They just have to place it correctly, and they have to be careful of DC's movements as well, because they can get picked off really easily through the Batrider. I mean, Abed's been doing a good job of just making sure that he's farming safely, He doesn't feel threat because I think he knows that the Nyx isn't looking for him at particular. Especially when the enemy team is.
All right, they're gonna open on the Beastmaster here. They flame break him before he gets the primal roar off. Void will finish him off. They do get the silence onto Mason, who's going to try and TP out, but the snowball will be there. Chain Frost is there as well. Nice Winter's Curse, though, coming through from Moon. It keeps Mason up for a little while longer, as they will bring down the Tusk. MSS is able to TP out, and Moon will do the same. Meanwhile, Abed finally finding some free space that he desperately needed in this early game. So when all is said and done, it will be a 2-for-1. But it's roughly even when you look at numbers, since Mason worth more than the tandem of heroes that DC were able to bring down. However, they will get a tower off the back end of it, but it we have failed to note yet that blue Pikachu have made it past 12 minutes.
I mean, this is like one way that you can use to catch one of your heroes up, right? Your team, they move around as 4, they're fighting all the time, and Abed's just been farming the bottom lane using all the space, especially since he got hurt so much from that Lich Bloodseeker lane.
Yeah, he's level 8 now, which is decent at this point in the game. Almost on par with the safe lane Nyx assassin. P. And looking to hunt once again. It is nighttime for another 2 minutes. And drags back the Tusk. Save will get the Walrus Punch off, but it'll only delay the inevitable, which is his death. Now Rupture coming through, though, in the mid lane. Bulba can walk out of the Blood Right, but with the Blade Mail, they can't really turn back into this Bloodseeker. Now Mason, though, looking to open up on him. With the Ice Armor, though, it's difficult for him to do so. And on the backside, the Nyx Assassin going to stun up MSS. Jump forward, though. Lasso is going to keep the Bloodseeker from continuing to attack on Mason. And the Chain Frost, though. Oh, that was Abed's combo. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Many combos were occurring.
4 for 2 in the favor of DC. They lose Mason once again. Certainly is not ideal, but Abed involved in that one, and he will pick up 710 experience.
Yeah, it's about an even exchange, especially since the Nyx is closing in on his Midas, which should help him scale into the mid-late game.
Less sustains, gold remains.
Even though it was a 3 for 2 exchange, though, DC were so far ahead that I think BP are okay with that.
Although Abed does get a nice, basically a full level worth of experience off the back end of that. He's got his Veil now, so.
And he's cut right back up.
4th overall on net worth, level 11. And well on his way to the Blink Dagger. So 1 minute, or 30 seconds left of night, but they do have the darkness. And Bulba bot lane has the Crippling Fear. Oh, and the Impale used. Now this Nyx going to be in a lot of trouble. And he will get slowed up by the Void and should just be one right click. Simply going to accept his fate, in fact. Bottom lane.
Jungle.
Going to go in on MSS. Blood Right should finish him off here. And they will be able to do so. Blade Mail popped up. Abed looking for the kill still on this Tusk. And he will be able to bring him down with the help of Bulba. Shrine going to be popped up by the Bloodseeker. They do have a Primal Roar. Mason coming through and does a lot of damage, but he is going to cop the Blood Right because of it. Now trying to fight into this Bloodseeker. They get the Winter's Curse off. Nicely played by Moon. Abed will finish off on the north side the Beastmaster. And the Lich gets off a decent Chain Frost. It kills off Bulba. And Abed having a little fun with his veteran teammate. As Bulba goes down on the back end. Again, it's 4 for 3. Blue Pikachu showing signs of life in this one. In fact, they take the lead big time in that fight in terms of net metrics. Killing off MSS first for them certainly bode well in the fight thereafter.
I mean, the fight puts them slightly less behind, but it doesn't really accomplish anything for them. I think they're probably their biggest problem right now is they're not actually able to out pick off DC. Like DC will always be looking for pickoffs, but Blue Pikachu looks like they're just content farming on their side of the map right now. They haven't gotten any tier 1s, so they're totally behind on map control, and as a result, their Beastmaster can't really do his job. And the Beastmaster job is quite tough because there's so much counter initiation from DC's lineups.
Dire are scanning.
probably have to do a better job of looking for pickoffs when DC's more separated, when they're not ready to fight, because it seems like whenever Blue Pikachu find a pickoff, DC's already ready to respond.
Now it seems as good a time as any with the Knicks hitting level 12 and it being daytime. But as you mentioned, look kind of content to farm on their side of the map. They've been playing more of a reactive game than a proactive game, and now Beastmaster, yeah, going to be initiated on, and we'll use the Primal Roar, but to no avail. Bulba sitting on the high ground, has a darkness available. Looking for save, will pop it. Mason nearby as well. They get the Void off, couple of right clicks, and Snowball has to be towards Mason as he will drag him to his death. Walrus Punch is there. One last right click from Abed gets the kill.
Oh, they spotted the ledge.
Now forced forward. Abed veils him up, has the coil as well. Jump forward, Waning Rift. Not even going to expend the coil. Economic play there from the DC mid laner. And conveniently enough, the wave is right under the tower.
I've seen Abed do that a lot, actually. Saving his spells. It's that 10k efficiency, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it just
These
feels
are
like Blue
things that I
Pikachu aren't
waste.
ready for this aggression from DC. I mean, they're missing so much map control that it's kind of difficult for them to predict and react to these rotations, and
They still have pretty decent vision. 3 wards, all kind of centered around their jungle, and they've been picked off in the mid and top area recently. Abed taking some damage from the Blade Mail, as is Mason, but they kill off the Bloodseeker first. Snowball will come through, though. Mason will be the trade. And now MSS looking to re-engage. Flame Break back onto the Nyx Assassin. Save also in trouble on the Tusk. Slowed up and jump forward from Abed. They get the Waning Rift off. So Mason rather brazenly dumps his entire load into a Blade Mail Bloodseeker and does end up falling for it. But they still take a 3-for-1 trade when all is said and done.
Abed's starting to work on a Lincoln switch to make it harder for him to get picked off, because all of the stuns on Blue Pikachu, except Walrus Punch and Nyx Kirpas, get blocked by Lincolns.
Jump forward. Glitch. Maybe a little trouble, but I'll bet he's missing the orb at the time. We'll think better of it.
Bulba's starting to work on the Aghanims. You don't usually see this item anymore because there's a lot of utility items Night Stalker can get, and usually it's sort of a big commitment for him to get it. I mean, you buy it in small items, but it takes a long time before it actually comes up online, and Night Stalker's strong at a point around like 10 to 20 minutes, and you don't really want to buy an Ents all the time. And part of the reason why people don't used to buy anymore is because you have that flying vision from passive now, so I think he's getting it here just to get total map control.
Meanwhile, they're going to find their Crippling Fear out on the Nyx Assassin. Lasso's going to find a second target. That's going to be the Beastmaster. And, oh, excuse me, the coil finds 2. And GG is called.
Just disconnect that.
Yeah, that's the same player who rage quit the first game, so maybe he's got a little bit of his sportsmanship to work on. But either way,
good showing from DC here. I mean, they drafted